When your breaking point becomes your business plan. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for choosing to spend this sacred time with me today. I know your time is precious. I know your energy is sacred. And I don't take lightly the fact that you're here, listening, open, ready. I recently had the profound privilege of sitting down with Jamaica Cotton, a woman whose work is not just transforming how Black women think about disruption, entrepreneurship, and legacy, but is fundamentally reshaping the entire conversation around what it means to rebuild after life falls apart. Jamaica Cotton is not just a strategist or a coach, she is a truth teller, a bridge builder, a fierce advocate for Black women who are tired of surviving and ready to start thriving. Her insights have helped countless women turn their most painful moments into their most powerful businesses. And today, I want to share with you what I learned from her because what she shared with me, what she's been teaching women across the country, is something that could change the trajectory of your life. Here's the truth that Jamaica Cotton wants us to understand. And I need you to really hear this. Your most painful personal disruption, the moment when a partner walks out, when a job disappears, when the ground beneath you cracks open and swallows everything you thought was stable, that moment is not the end of your story. It is often the clearest strategic signal that it's time to build something that belongs to you, not to anyone else. Let me say that again because I need this to land. Your breaking point can be your blueprint. We've been taught, especially as Black women, to bounce back, to return to stability, to find safety, to get another job, to move on quickly, to keep it together for the kids, for the family, for everyone watching. But Jamaica Cotton is asking us to pause, to sit in that disruption, and to ask ourselves a radically different question. What if this moment, this rock bottom, is actually the most honest market research you'll ever get about the life and business you're meant to create? Think about that for a second. When a marriage ends, when a co parent walks away, when a federal job is eliminated, you're not just starting from zero. You're standing in front of a mirror that shows you exactly what wasn't working. You're seeing which systems were never built to protect you, which incomes were never truly secure, which relationships or workplaces were never aligned with your purpose. And when we treat our hardest seasons as information rather than shame, we stop clinging to broken structures. We stop trying to rebuild what fell apart. Instead, we start intentionally designing businesses, careers, and family legacies that cannot be abandoned in the same way. For Black women, especially mothers, this means reframing survival seasons as strategy seasons. The urgency is real, the bills are real, the children are real, but that urgency should not rush us into recreating another unstable job. It should push us to build assets, systems, and ventures that respect our value and protect our children's future. Now, let me share with you three women whose stories illustrate exactly what Jamaica Cotton is talking about. These are real women, real pain, real transformation. The first is Dr. Rosie Thomas. Dr. Rosie is a financial expert who works with Black women who have lost federal jobs and other forms of so called stable employment. She helps them build businesses that can outlast any employer. When hundreds of thousands of federal jobs were eliminated, Black women were disproportionately affected. Many of these women had spent years, sometimes decades, believing that their government job was their security. And then in an instant, it was gone. Dr. Rosie watched these women respond with urgency but without strategy. They wanted to start businesses, but they didn't know how to price their services. They didn't understand cash flow. They didn't know how to budget for taxes or pay themselves first. They recreated jobs for themselves, roles that kept them overworked and underpaid, rather than building businesses with scalable structures. So Dr. Rosie developed a framework. She taught these women to start with their own numbers before approaching lenders or investors. She helped them correct chronic underpricing, which she calls the first funding problem. Because if you're not charging enough, you can't sustain your business no matter how hard you work. She showed them how to access capital through community development financial institutions, CDFIs, that exist specifically to fund underserved entrepreneurs. She taught them to begin building systems on day one, even if those systems were imperfect, so that the business could function beyond the founder's immediate hustle. And most importantly, she helped them make a mindset shift. Treat the venture like a business, not a hobby or side hustle. Pay yourself, budget, plan for taxes, build something that can sustain you and your family, not just keep you busy. The result? Black women moved from reactionary, urgency driven responses to intentional business building that is more resilient than a single job. They began to see their layoffs not just as losses, but as turning points, opportunities to build enterprises aligned with their needs and values. Women who applied her framework improved their access to capital, pricing strategies, and long term stability. Dr. Rosie's work is a living example of what Jamaica Cotton teaches. Your breaking point can be a blueprint, not a death sentence. The second story is about a mother daughter duo, Martin and Alexandria. They are building a wellness farm in North Carolina dedicated specifically to Black women's healing and rest. Their venture emerged from their shared experiences and the recognition that Black women bear disproportionate emotional and physical burdens without adequate spaces to recover. Starting a farm and wellness centered business required significant planning and funding, land access, and logistical coordination. Fear and uncertainty were real obstacles, especially for Black women conditioned to prioritize safety over self authored ventures. But Martine and Alexandria embraced the principle just start. They refused to let fear be the primary decision maker. They adopted the mantra, do it scared. They built a small, trusted circle of 3 to 5 people committed to their success, people who could ask hard questions, hold them accountable, and challenge their assumptions. They broke their vision into manageable steps rather than trying to build everything at once. And they released attachment to tightly controlled outcomes, creating room for unexpected opportunities to emerge. The result? They progressed from concept to implementation, moving toward opening a wellness farm designed around Black women's specific needs and realities. Their journey demonstrated that Black women can prioritize their own healing and design ventures where their pain and stress are addressed, not exploited. The farm became a symbol of reclaiming land, rest, and wellness as integral parts of Black women's entrepreneurial and professional lives. For a Black mother rebuilding after abandonment, this story illustrates that the ventures we create can be spaces of healing for ourselves and our community, not just sources of income. It reinforces that our pain can inspire businesses that actively disrupt the cycles that hurt us. The third story is about Olivia Watkins and Karen Washington, Black agriculturists and activists who co founded the Black Farmers Fund, an initiative that has secured over $11 million dollars in funding to support Black farmers, business owners, and land stewards. Their work is a direct response to systemic exclusion and instability faced by Black agricultural entrepreneurs. Black farmers and land stewards have historically faced systemic discrimination in access to capital, land, and markets, leaving many vulnerable to economic disruption and displacement. Many Black landowners lacked tailored financial instruments or support systems that understood their specific needs and histories. Without capital and infrastructure, Black families and communities struggled to turn cultural and agricultural knowledge into sustainable revenue generating enterprises. Watkins and Washington created the Black Farmers Fund as a focused financing and support mechanism for Black agricultural entrepreneurs and land stewards. They secured over $11 million dollars in funding dedicated to Black farmers and business owners, dramatically expanding access to capital for this demographic. They offered not only funding, but also support structures that respect Black communities' histories and aspirations. aligning capital with community centered impact. The result: more Black farmers and related business owners gained access to resources that allowed them to stabilize and grow their enterprises. The fund contributed to greater land retention, business sustainability, and community resilience among Black agricultural entrepreneurs. It demonstrated that targeted capital and infrastructure can convert historically marginalized positions into platforms for long term legacy. For Black mothers and entrepreneurs rebuilding after personal disruption, this story shows that when we design institutions and funds with our realities in mind, we create structures that are far less fragile than traditional employment or unsupported solo ventures. It reinforces the principle of building systems and capital pipelines that can withstand life's upheavals. These three stories, Dr. Rosie Thomas, Martine and Alexandria, Olivia Watkins, and Karen Washington, they all illustrate the same truth that Jamaica Cotton is teaching. Your most painful disruption is not a dead end, it is a doorway. But here's what Jamaica Cotton also wants us to understand: building with intention, not just urgency, especially when you're a mother, is critical. Your time, energy, and finances are not optional, they are infrastructure. That means you cannot just create another job for yourself. You must focus on building a business with systems that can function when you're tired, healing, or caregiving. Let urgency push you to start, but never let it rush you into underpricing, overworking, or skipping foundational planning. Intentional building is how you move from survival mode to legacy mode. And here's the third truth Jamaica Cotton shared with me: clarity, consistency, and coachability are your real superpowers for Black women navigating entrepreneurship after personal upheaval. The traits that differentiate thriving businesses from stuck ones are clarity, knowing what you do, who you serve, and how it supports the life you're creating for your children. Consistency, showing up in small, repeatable ways, even when life is loud and complicated. And coachability, being willing to get help, learn new financial and business skills, and receive accountability without shame. These traits matter more than having a perfect business idea because they make you adaptable in the face of disruption. So here's what I need you to do: I need you to stop right now and ask yourself this question. If the person or job you're depending on today walked out tomorrow, what business, system, or skill would you wish you had already built? What would you wish you had in place? What would make you feel secure, grounded, capable of standing on your own 2 feet? Now ask yourself this: what is one intentional step you can take this week to start building it? I'm not asking you to have all the answers. I'm not asking you to build an empire by Friday, but I am asking you to decide right now that your story will not end at the moment someone else walks away. I'm asking you to treat this moment, this clarity, as your first brick. Take 20 minutes this week. Write down what part of your current life feels the most fragile. Is it your income, your housing, your childcare, your emotional support? Write it down. And then write down one small, concrete move you can make to turn that fragility into a plan. Learn a new skill, revise your prices, start a side venture with real systems, reach out to a mentor, explore community development, financial institutions, or community funds. You don't have to build the entire business in a week, but you do have to decide. You have to decide that you are worth protecting, that your children are worth a legacy, that your life is worth designing with intention. Jamaica Cotton is teaching us that our breaking points are not endings, they are invitations. Invitations to build something that cannot be walked out on as easily as a job or relationship. Invitations to design businesses and legacies that honor our value, protect our children's futures, and reflect our purpose. This is not about romanticizing struggle. This is about refusing to let struggle be the final word. This is about turning pain into plans and urgency into intentional action. So I'm going to leave you with this. The next time life disrupts you, and I want you to remember that you are not broken. You are being rebuilt. And this time you get to design the blueprint. Thank you.